The subject I'm gonna follow up on real quick is on this idea of, have I become such a perfectionist that I'm not getting things finished?
And welcome back to another episode of 5 Ideas. We are so thrilled that you are here with us today, joining us at the table. And today, we're talking in the category of peak performance. And specifically, we're focusing on this phrase, done over perfect. And we'll dive into that in a little bit more detail. But what I mean by that is, oftentimes we're stuck trying to perfect things and get things perfect before. Maybe you're trying to write a book, a song, you're just working on a homework assignment. You're, striving at work, et cetera, et cetera. You're trying to get something perfect before you release it. Can we talk about, is that a good thing to do, to be a perfectionist, or is it better to just get it done, or is there some kind of in between that we should be focusing on?
Tough one. You threw one at me, but I love it. It's a great subject, and I'll tell you why. First of all, there's nothing wrong with perfectionism. I love having perfectionists around me because I'm so far from it. I'm like boom, boom, boom. So perfectionist is good to have in your life, but the subject I'm gonna follow up on real quick is on this idea of, have I become such a perfectionist that I'm not getting things finished?
Ooh.
And it's funny that you would say that, because I just recently helped a client in my coaching business finish a book. Okay, we finished the book, and I know you were going to talk about a friend of yours that had written a book. This is a different person.
Sure.
This is a client of mine who finished a book in 6 months. He had been working on it for 6 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So 6 years, right? So he's got the motivation.
So you said, just for clarity, you said he'd been working on it for 6 years, and then after you guys talked through a strategy, he gets it done in 6 months.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So we come on board. He says, look, I want to finish this book. How long you been working on it? 6 years. How long? When do you want to get it done? He said,
How
well, I'd like to
long
get
is
it, right? I'd like to get it done in 1 year. And I said, let's get it done in 6 months.
Woo, all right.
Okay. So here's what happened. Long story short, and then you can ask me questions about it. But the bottom line was, we did exactly that. I said, look, you've got to keep moving. You are wordsmithing every word. Let's keep working on this. Let's keep moving. Let's get the chapters written. Let's get it done. We can get people to help you edit and do all that. But he was getting stuck on a paragraph for a week or 2 weeks. Once we started rolling and just said, let's get this thing done, I think is the word you used, then we could work on perfecting it.
Okay.
And it, I don't know, it takes a little pressure off of you when you have it done. Now you feel more energized to go back and say, okay, what needs to be tweaked? What needs to be improved? Or do I hire somebody? Can I hire an editor? Can I hire somebody to read this? Then you can get some help. But if you are laboring word after word, paragraph after paragraph, and this is just one illustration I'm using, the book, you're probably not going to get it done.
Maybe I asked the wrong question. Maybe the problem isn't the problem, because it kind of sounds like you said there's really nothing wrong with wanting to be perfect, or maybe a better word is excellent. And maybe the real problem isn't, it's not done or perfect. Like maybe you don't have to choose between done and perfect. Maybe it's getting things done helps you work towards that perfection. So if you're actually accomplishing something, you can evaluate it. How do I make it better?
Right.
And so it's like taking steps. Like you're taking steps and you're getting minor things done. Like you're getting the paragraph done, then you're getting the chapter done, then you're going back and looking at it. But you can't evaluate something that's not done, right?
Yeah. Let's look at this simple, practical, all right? How many times have you ever looked at your garage, looked at your basement?
Just yesterday.
and said, I really need to get to that.
Yeah.
And then it's 2 months, and it's 3 months, and it's 4 months, and it's 5 months. I mean, that happens, right? That happens. That's real life stuff.
Wow. So you're basically saying it's not really, it's that you're just trying to get the whole thing done at once.
Bingo.
And that's that.
Perfection. So personal example, my basement has been a mess for a year. Okay, now we don't go. What do you do when something's a mess? You avoid it. You don't go right. You just leave it over.
Yeah.
So, so I had some things come up where I was going to be off for a week. So I just went down and I just said, okay, all I'm going to do today is I'm just going to reorganize this pile.
Wow.
And then the next day I went, I'm going to reorganize this pile, and then I'm going to reorganize that pile. And by the end of the week, it was done. It was done. But every time I would go down, listen to this. This is great. Every time I would go down to my basement, here's what I would do. I would go, well, I need to go to, to Lowe's or Menards or whatever, because I need to buy the cases first, and then I need to do that first. What is that? That is saying everything has to be lined out perfectly before I can get anything done. And I realized sometimes if you just get started into the project and you get a few things done, then the perfection or how you want it comes after that.
Maybe it's not done over perfect. Maybe it's just do something instead of nothing.
Yeah.
So like you're saying, I'm looking at my garage. I actually just did this yesterday. My garage we just moved to a house recently. My garage has been a mess for a long time. And I'm like, I don't have time to clean this whole garage today. But I saw this little area. I'm like, if I clean this out, I can at least get one car in. And then I'll be a little closer. And I cleaned that area. And I'm one step closer to it being done, but it's not all done. And that's why I didn't want to do it, because I'm like, this is such a, this is going to take me a long time. But that piece didn't take me that long, maybe 45 minutes.
We see it as an overwhelming task. So it's an overwhelming task to sit down and write a book.
Wow.
But it's not, anybody can write one paragraph or one page a day. And if you write one page a day in 100 days, you got a mid-sized book.
Wow. And speaking of books, we're actually in the process of writing our first book.
Yeah.
That's going to be coming from 5 Ideas. Ooh. I can't tell you exactly when it's going to launch. You'll hear more about that soon. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I can do this. Tell me if I can't. But maybe somebody who comments on this video, if you comment on the video and just raise your hand and say, I'm interested.
Let's give them a copy.
All right. So
somebody,
we're going to pick one person, 5 people.
5 people. First 5 people to comment. Right? First 5 people to comment.
Okay, I love that. First 5 people to comment on this video. And if you're listening on the podcast, it might be too late if you're listening on a podcast platform, because we're going to make this YouTube exclusive.
Oh, that's true.
So we'll make this YouTube exclusive if you're cool with that, Rich.
Yeah.
So if you're hearing this right now, pause it, go to YouTube, and maybe there's not 5 comments. Maybe people didn't, get this far in the episode. Be one of the first 5 to comment, and you will get a free copy of the book iTunes.
Ooh, so excited about this
which
book.
is coming out in a short while. But back to go ahead.
So here's what I want. For many years, I've coached college athletes.
Yep.
And I used to say this all the time: massive action trumps everything. Okay, so you want to get somewhere, you take massive action. I have changed that to action trumps everything. It doesn't even have to be massive.
Just something.
Do something every day to make it, I'd say do something every day to make yourself a better athlete.
Yep.
Do something every day to develop in that area. So it's the same principle. If you have a task in front of you that's overwhelming you, what can you do today to make that task less and less overwhelming till you get it done?
And I want to say, tying back into the book that we're working on right now, we talked about and said, and we both have very busy schedules. We're like, how are we going to write a book?
Right.
And we kind of sat down and we're like, we're just going to start it. And right over in here in this corner, you can't see it, but behind me in this corner of the studio, we sat down. I think we've spent a total of maybe 16 hours or whatnot, just writing the book. We still have a little bit more work to do, but we're like, let's just do it. Let's write the book. Let's get it done. Let's work with some other people to help us edit it. Let's work with some more experienced people to help us get it to that perfect level. And I think that's something to bring up, the power of partnership.
Oh yeah. I was just thinking of that.
So you said, if I could say one more thing.
Yeah.
You said the task sometimes is too daunting. So I'm going to make it a little bit smaller and break it down and just do one piece at a time. Another thing I've noticed when we were moving, the task was very daunting. But we did the same concept. We broke it down into smaller pieces, but we didn't schedule it over time. We assigned it over more people.
Yeah.
So we had partnership.
There you go.
And so that's another way to achieve more with the limited amount of time that we have. Maybe.
Yeah. Partnership is a way to get things done. And let's go back to the book. Full transparency. This has been my baby for so many years. Once again, I wanted to write this book. I came to Joy. I said, Joy, I got this great idea for this book. It includes a lot of the 5 ideas concepts that I've been working on for a lifetime. And I said, but I've been thinking about this for like 10 years.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember?
Yeah.
And so we did. We sat down, and here's why, going back to partnership, I'm good verbally, and Joey's a good writer. So I just sat and told a story, and Joey would write, and together we knocked it out.
Absolutely. Yep. And so now there's a book coming that wasn't coming before. I mean, it was in you. Like, you had the idea. And like you said several episodes back, a lot of people can have the idea and there's something inside of them. Everybody has a dream. But the strategy that we're talking about, the idea that we're talking about on this episode, is the idea of breaking things down.
I think getting something done.
Yeah.
Because in the hesitation of getting something done because you think it's not good enough or it's not perfect. I think you started out with that, and I think that is so right on, because I can't tell you how many times I would start a chapter. Oh, that's not right. Well, that doesn't feel good. Or how many chapters are? But boy, once we sat down in partnership, it just started to flow.
Yeah, and there's something to be said. Not everybody has, that a person that maybe they're in agreement with at that same level. And sometimes relationships like that, they take time to form. And so one really practical way you can start practicing what Rich is talking about on this episode is, if you have something that's super daunting, it could be cleaning your garage, honestly. It could be cleaning your basement. And that could actually be stealing a lot of mental freedom from you. Something that simple. It could be taking away your mental freedom. So instead of you doing that, you make yourself feel guilty that you can't go do something fun either, because that's waiting there. So instead you lay on your couch, turn on Netflix, procrastinate, forget about it. And you're avoiding the problem, and you're avoiding the joy of overcoming the problem. So one suggestion Rich just gave us, that's an idea that you can practically implement, is to take it into bite-sized pieces. Maybe when you're coming home from the garage, you're coming in, you drive in, you park in the garage, you put one thing on a shelf, and then you go in. Then the next day you do the same thing. And all of a sudden, after a while, you've accomplished a lot of little things, and now you're done. Another thing, though, that we talked about, that's powerful. But if you want to go to the next level of that peak performance, Rich just mentioned the power of partnership. And that's when you get somebody, because you can second guess yourself. If you're writing a chapter and you're like, I don't know if it's good or not. But if you have somebody else that tells you it is good, or somebody that tells you, yeah, that's not good, but here's why it's not good. Then you have somebody agreeing with you, or somebody able to kind of be that balance. And then you can be like, all right, sweet, we agree. Next. And so the power of two minds, being able to look at it from different perspectives, it's very, very, very powerful.
Yeah. I like the partnership idea, and I think the partnership comes after you do something. Here's a suggestion for our listeners who watch this, because it's a coaching session.
Yep.
Because I have a lot of clients that have multiple things on their plate. And so what we go over is this. What if you come to something like writing a book, and you're like, I'm writing this book. I always ask people, when's the last time you've written? Well, about a month ago. Well, you're not really writing a book then.
Yeah,
okay.
true.
So, but what we do is go, let's list it. I'm writing a book. I've got this project. I've got this presentation. So you list out your to-do list. And then those things that have seemed to be daunting and overwhelming, you make up time each day to work on it, even if it's only a half hour.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put something away in the basement, put something away in the garage. I'm going to write a paragraph in my book. I'm going to prepare for my presentation, and what you do. And then once you get to a certain point in that project, then you start to go, I wonder who I could partner with that would move this faster
Interesting.
and further down the road. I've got it started. I know where I want to go, but I need somebody to come in here and help us. We've got an artist
Yep.
that's going to be doing our drawings for us in our book. You and I couldn't have done that.
Correct.
We would still be stuck with stick figures, right?
Yeah, there'll be an artist featured in the book. Awesome friend, brother of ours, and we also have somebody that's successfully released 2 books who's going to help us with editing and formatting the book, because we've never done that before, and this person has, and they're fast at it. They're faster than us. So now we can get a book released quicker through the power of partnership. There's 4 people, working on this, and then there'll be the team of people like David back here who produces this show that you're seeing right now. There'll be him helping us with the marketing of getting the word of the book out there. We've got Wes, who's going to be helping us with the marketing of the book. And it takes, people ask me frequently, Joey, how do you have time to do it all? I say I don't have time to do it all. And I say I don't do it all myself. Mm-hmm. We're partnered.
Well, and back to our subject, where would we be really if all we were thinking about, by the way, where does perfectionism come from?
I don't know.
It comes from comparison. A lot of times we compare. So what if we're sitting down and we're saying, we're comparing everything that we're doing to people that have been out there doing it for years and years and years. And it's not quite good enough. Let's not release it. Oh, it's not quite good enough. Let's not release it. And yet where we go, you know what? No, what we're doing is good. The content of this book is good. You begin to value who you are and what you do, and you put it out there and you go for it. And what happens is the more you do it, the better you get at something.
Yeah.
And so instead of just going, I'm going to wait till it's perfect, who judges whether it's perfect?
That's true.
I've heard where certain YouTubes go viral that somebody just made on their phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's
no expensive mics
TikTok,
and cameras
YouTube.
like we've got, and it goes viral.
Yep.
So it's not about perfection. It's about the creativity of expressing yourself and getting it out there and saying, we're going to produce a book, we're going to produce a podcast, we're going to share these life-changing principles with people. And they might not be perfect, but we think they're pretty darn good.
Exactly. And we get feedback. My friends who listen to the show, who are very successful entrepreneurs, they've called me and said, hey, I really like this, but I'd also like if you could do this. And we've changed things up based on feedback.
Yeah.
But they couldn't have evaluated it if it wasn't existing.
Exactly.
If it wasn't already there, they couldn't have evaluated it.
Exactly.
And one thing that you mentioned in our recent edition of 25 Ideas. And if you don't know what 25 Ideas is, just head on over to our website, 5ideas.co. There'll be a pop-up that shows up. Also, you can go to the menu and find it. It's a subscription that Rich actually has all these curated ideas, 5 ideas in each of the 5 distinct categories that we talk about on this show. They're ideas such as check out this app. It might help you with your fitness. It might help you with your budgeting, et cetera, et cetera. Read this book. Here's a good suggestion of something you can say to improve your relationship, something you can focus on. And one example of an idea that from the last drop that we just did, and by the way, you'll see when you go to the website that we're giving people a 50,000 day free trial. Means it's free. It's free for life. We do know it's valuable. We do know there's a dollar amount of value on this, but we wanted to be able to give it to people that so that everyone can access it. But one idea that was from our recent drop in the health and fitness category that reminds me so much of what we're talking about today is so we're talking about health and fitness, right? Begin a regular exercise plan by walking. Walking is the most basic form. I'm reading this right from the site. You can check this out right after the episode. Walking is the most basic form of cardiovascular exercise. Benefits of walking include lower risk of cardiovascular or pulmonary disease, improved blood circulation, increased energy, enhanced balance and coordination, and much more. Do you want those things? Yes.
Yes.
The answer is yes. One way to start is by walking. I was like, part of me was like, Rich, this idea is so simple. But then the other part of me was like, why didn't I think of that?
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's the power of just getting something done, just doing something.
Yeah, get out there and do it. You know, some people go, I'm gonna start exercising as soon as I lose 30 pounds. Just start walking.
Yeah, just start with one, and then you might have a little more energy.
You don't have to be perfect to get something done.
And with that, if you take anything away from this episode, remember, you don't have to be already in the perfect situation just to start. You can just start. You can just start by walking. Also, there's power in partnership. So once you maybe get to a level where you feel like you're doing pretty good, but you want to go even farther, it might be time to start thinking about partnership. Who can I partner with on this to accomplish even more than I'm accomplishing now? And if you want a free resource to take you even farther than this podcast, head on over to 5ideas.co. Check out and subscribe to 25 Ideas to get some of the best, most curated ideas that Rich has been working on over his entire life.
50,000 day free trial.
50,000 day free trial. Who
Can't
can
beat
turn
it.
down? And thank you so much for joining us at the table for this episode of 5 Ideas. We're so stoked to see you on the next one.